Yeah, that may not be the best display of our next game, but did you know that this is probably one of the most profitable esports right now? My name is Banks, and I am your host, and on today's episode of Gaming Night, it's Rocket League. I can't think of a better representation for my childhood than these two items, a car and a football. But trust me, these two are the staple items for an ever-expanding area of esports. So, let's find out what Rocket League is all about.
Do you like cars? Do you like playing football? Do you like flying cars which are playing football? Then look no further, as you're in for a real treat. Hi there, your voiceover guy here, and today we're going to talk about Rocket League, a game that, through its simplicity, was able to truly catch the hearts of the gaming community. At first glance, it might look like someone took Trackmania and combined it with FIFA, but that common misconception can be easily fixed. First of all, the concept of soccer, but with rocket-powered cars, is not new, as it was already introduced in 2008's supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars. Despite not having the catchiest name, the idea of cars pushing a ball around and scoring goals created quite a buzz within the community. A buzz that was picked up by Psyonix, the game's developers, which in 2015 turned it into a proper sequel, Rocket League. And they struck gold, mainly because of the simple fact that instead of looking like this, Rocket League took car football to a whole new level. A level looking more like this.
That is the angle of the century! I thought he was going to drop it down for a teammate, but instead he goes for the angle into net a lot out of his mind. What a way to open up this series!
Together with some nice colors, customization options, and even more or less obvious partnerships, all within a game that's as simple as a game can get. 2 teams and 6 cars driving and flying around the field in an attempt to place the ball in the opponent's net. No fancy weapons, no economy, no champions, just rocket cars pushing a ball around, which is probably Rocket League's biggest strength. Because even if you're a casual, you can still be amazed by plays such as this.
Oh, what? No! No way! What? Are you kidding me?
And players still find new ways to score points, constantly pushing the skill ceiling higher and higher, and with it, the title's popularity. Just look at the numbers from 2018 when Rocket League's player count reached 40 million. It was only a matter of time before Rocket League's idea and skill hidden behind its simplicity would create an environment for a proper competitive scene. A scene that in time spawned such legends as the Dignitas roster or Squishy Muffins with his famous ceiling shots.
Squishy, no, he puts it through! He's been going for this stuff all season, and he pulls it off here in the most clutch moment. The player to invent the shot himself!
And of course, scenes that capture the true essence of competitive gaming. So as you can see, Rocket League has everything you would like to have in a game. It's good for casuals and pros alike, it's fun to watch, and its esports scene is constantly growing and evolving. And you know what? There's more. If football is not your cup of tea, then why not try out basketball? Everyone's invited to push stuff with flying rocket cars. Sure, Rocket League might not be as big as Counter-Strike or Dota 2 when it comes to events and prize money, but it certainly isn't the peak of its story. And with the game now being free to play, soon we might see lots of new sick stunts, maybe even performed by you.
High-octane, adrenaline-fueled entertainment. And if your parents tell you that you're wasting your time on playing football or driving a car, you can always tell them it involves a lot of geometry and physics. Speaking of playing football, let's ask my first guest why parents should get behind each and every one of these activities, because he is actually one of the most famous footballers on the planet. Dele, welcome to Gaming Night. How's it going, first and foremost?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Good to see you. So we're just going to dive straight in, a bit of interview, a bit of back and forth, So I got to know you are an avid gamer, as I have seen across the internet and on many people's live streams. What is the first video game you ever played?
My first game was, I think it was Mario Kart on like the Nintendo Cube or something like that.
Okay, we share the same kind of vibe. I like that. Mario 64 was my favorite on the Nintendo 64. I feel like maybe a bit older. That's a bit of a shame.
I think I played that one as well.
Good. I like to hear that. Well, I mean, how much time do you spend playing video games now at the moment?
Wow. My coaches probably won't like the answer to that. No, it changes obviously depending on our schedule, but usually I like to get at least a couple hours in if it's, after training or on the weekend.
Yeah, just like unwinding as well. It's a good way to unwind. I think it seems like there's a lot of, action going on camera. I mean, I think a lot of people think that, there's always so much going on screen. It's not very relaxing, but I play games to unwind. So you're someone who is in, the esports world and also traditional sports. How would you compare them?
Obviously the competition side, I play with a lot of my mates, whether it be from, just home or from football as well. And, everyone loves to compete against each other. I think there's a lot of tactics in gaming as well, a lot of skill. And it is very hard, when you think you're good and then you go against, I've had the opportunity to a couple of times play against, pro players, and the level between them, it's a massive jump, and yeah, it's very tough.
Yeah, a couple of hours a day versus 16 hours a day is literally so far apart, isn't it? It's ridiculous. Now, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your football kind of tactics yourself. Do you have any pre-game rituals, before you get on the pitch? Are we talking like special socks, bathroom breaks, you wash your hands? What do you do?
Yeah, I have quite a few, to be fair. I sort of cut it down a little bit now. But I'd eat the same meal the day before. And then the day of the game, I'd have the same thing. Like for the pre-match meal, I'd eat the same thing before every game. And then when we get to the stadium, I used to always take out a bottle of water with me as I walked out to the pitch and pull it in the tunnel.
So you place it for yourself.
Yeah, I'd always, and then I always get changed right to left. So I do my right sock and then my left sock and then my right shin pad, then my left shin pad. And yeah, just little things like that.
Sounds very specific. I feel like when the game has more on it, the more eyes on it, the more I feel like the more you would feel like you need to do things like that and have pre-game rituals. What was the meal? Can I ask you? What is the meal that you eat before both days?
So the night before, I always have spaghetti bolognese. And then the day of the pre-match, I'll have, because we always have, obviously it depends on what timing of the day the game is. But if it's a night kickoff or a 3 o'clock kickoff, I'd always have spaghetti bolognese and then 3 Weetabix with sugar.
There you go. See, for those of you watching at home, that is the recipe to take to the football pitch. Okay, if you could choose between FIFA or Fortnite, what would you choose and why?
Fortnite for a couple reasons. I prefer the game. I think it's more fun. And FIFA, my ratings aren't very good, so I stay away from it.
Gotcha. Okay, fair play. I mean, for the viewers at home that may not know, right, professional players are sometimes given a 99 version of themselves on FIFA. Do you have one?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so if you wanted to sell that, I know you can't, unfortunately. If you wanted to sell it, though, on Ultimate Team, what would you sell him for?
It would have to be, I'm not sure. It would have to be really high because obviously everything's rated 99 on the card. So, but a good. What's the normal price people pay on that now?
I mean, I'm sure it's got to be in the tens of millions. That must feel pretty good having a 99 of yourself on a game, though. Come on.
Yeah, no, it is good. I always pass the ball to myself.
So, okay, let's talk about Spurs a little bit, right? So who would you say is your best friend from Spurs? I mean, the person that you're always hanging out with and the person that, people will always say, oh, they're hanging out again together.
I think we've got a good team in terms of good people. A lot of my closest friends have moved on, changed clubs. But now I'd say I get on well with Sonny, Steve Bergwijn, Eric Dyer. I'll probably say Joe Hart, Matt Doherty.
Okay, so between you and Joe Hart, who'd win in a game in FIFA?
I don't think Joe Hart even knows how to play FIFA.
So I won't be asking about accuracy, but I demand honesty. Dele, are you ready for the really tricky questions? We've got an awkward quiz for you.
I'm ready.
Cool, he's ready. There we go. So you've got about 5 seconds to answer each of these questions, right? So we're going to kick off with the first one. What food could you not live without?
Chicken.
Who's the last person you called and why?
Wait, let me check. I can see. The guy from the restaurant down the road. He's having some breakfast.
Who is the most famous person that follows you on Instagram?
Calvin Harris or Neymar, probably, I think.
If you weren't a footballer, what would you be?
A PE teacher.
Out of your teammates at Spurs, who's the best dressed?
Me, that's an easy one. Don't need 5 seconds for that.
Who's the biggest prankster?
Son, probably. Hanging Son.
Okay, so I'm going to allow you now to go back in time to the 1966 World Cup final. You're in the stadium watching it live. Who do you take with you? You can take one person.
Well, that's a tough one. Probably my brother, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the Tricky Quiz. It wasn't so tricky after all. We're going to be checking back with you later in the show for our Spot the Lie quiz. What an absolute gem of a guest. Really into his video games as well, which is what we love to see. But you may not know that there are a plethora of celebs who love these sorts of games too. Let's roll the video.
As if celebrities didn't get enough attention, we're going to give them just a little bit more. From basketball and tennis players to musicians and actors, we look at celebrities who love football just as much as we do. Because who doesn't? Fun fact, well, some of them even have hidden, unfulfilled footballing pasts. Gordon Ramsay. Before yelling at people in kitchens, Gordon Ramsay did the same thing with his teammates and opposing players on the football pitch. Raised in Stratford, England, he played for the U14 football team and even earned himself a tryout with the well-known Glasgow Rangers from Scotland. His football career was cut short due to a major injury at Glasgow when he was 19 years old, thus turning his focus to cooking. Steve Nash. Out of all of the celebrities who played football, Steve Nash may have been the best. Let's just keep in mind that Nash was picked up 2 times in a row as the NBA's regular season MVP. In 2005, Steve claimed that if he chose football over basketball, he could have turned pro. The current Brooklyn Nets coach credits his NBA success to his knowledge and skill in the game of football. In early 2016, Nash was a part of a group who purchased a $21 million stake in the Spanish franchise RCD Mallorca, so it's fair to say that he's still involved with the game. Sean Connery. Did you know that James Bond was one step away from becoming a professional footballer? Okay, not James Bond exactly, but well-known actor Sean Connery, who played Bond's role for 7 times. Before making his mark in acting, Connery was a die-hard football player. He even impressed one of Manchester United's coaches during a game against the local team. Just after a game, Connery was offered a contract which he declined because he chose to act. Smart move, because it's pretty hard to imagine somebody else taking that iconic role out of the MI6 spy. Tom Cruise. Arguably the biggest movie star of our time, but before becoming a famous actor who jumps out of your fridge every time you open it, and let's be honest, half of the movies we've watched had Tom Cruise in them, he played football in Canada. And some say he was actually really talented. Unfortunately, his career was cut short when he suffered an injury in his senior years. Between acting, flying helicopters, or driving Formula One cars, Tom Cruise still follows the sport and is often a guest at LA Galaxy Stadium. Rod Stewart. A little-known fact is that music legend Rod Stewart holds the current world record for the biggest gig of all time. The eccentric musician performed for a staggering 3.5 million viewers, celebrating New Year's Eve in Copacabana, Brazil. But what's a lesser-known fact is that Rod comes from a football-loving family. He played for Middlesex Schoolboys, where he was a captain of the team. In 1960, he even tried out for the former championship club Brentford FC, who have just now been promoted to the Premier League. He was never offered a contract though, so he focused on his music career instead. In his 2012 autobiography, he wrote, "Well, a musician's life is a lot easier, and I can also get drunk and make music, and I can't do that and play football." Hard not to agree. Rafael Nadal. It's also not hard to tell which of the best tennis players are inspired by football. When you see some of the funny plays by Rafael Nadal, you could easily tell he used to play football. But his father made him choose between football and tennis, so it wouldn't affect his schoolwork entirely. And some would say Rafael chose probably the right path here. Justin Bieber. a clear signal was sent out by FC Barcelona in 2016. Justin Bieber loves soccer. I guess not many celebrities would mark a check on their bucket list like Justin did, because who would reject a training session with Neymar to shoot some goals? Bob Marley, last but not least, was the greatest artist in the world, and maybe the best football player among the reggae artists. Football is very much a big part of Bob's life story. That was his sport. On tour, he never traveled without a ball.
Football is our skills itself, our world, our universe itself.
It's pretty clear that celebrities love to play football, but guess what? It goes both ways. Football stars also love show business. But as Neymar once said,
Eu não sou herói, sou jogador de futebol.
let's stick to the stuff we're best at.
So now you know why this game is so special to so many people. But let's jump back into the Rocket League community and have a chat with two legends from the Rocket League pro scene. It's RL Jacob and Marky Dudar. Let's see how they handled our Guess the Arena quiz.
Oh, well, that's too easy. That's far too easy. That's Neo Tokyo. I'm like, is it Neo? It's gotta be Neo Tokyo. Is there any other map with Japanese writing in it? I don't think so. Yeah, Neo Tokyo.
Is that a screenshot of the title screen? If it's a sign, it has to be Neo Tokyo then.
It looks a bit dystopian. I don't know. I want to say Beckwith because I don't have a better guess. I think it's Beckwith, and I think that's the floodlight. I think that's grass, and then it's like the city building in the background. I can't really think of any other map it could be. Nothing's coming to my mind. So I'm gonna go with Beckwith Park.
Oh, that's one of the first maps that came out with the game. I don't think that it's Manfield, so I'm gonna go with DFH Stadium? Oh, Beckwith Park. Darn. Skyscrapers. I knew it was one of the first maps from the skyscraper, but...
Urban. Straight in there. I was in SARP 1 as well. I was in the original, the prequel to Rocket League. I had Urban 100%. I'll re-download and delete Rocket League again if it's not Urban. I'll sit there, I'll watch the bar the whole way. I'll live stream myself sitting and watching the bar. Urban all day.
I used to be the king here. That's Urban for sure.
Wasteland. It's the smoky bit. It's like the flares in the back of Wasteland, and then like the overarching, it's like a trash arc, kind of like my career, the trash arc.
I think it's Wasteland, but they changed the name when they made it standard, and I don't think that wall is curved. I think it's called Badlands now. Oh, they were curved. Okay. Ooh, that's Salty Shore Day. Yeah, the paint gave it away. It was so bright.
Great picture. I think Sandy Shores. I think the blue with the white line and then the little brown bits makes me think it's Sandy Shores. I think it's like the edge of the penalty box on Sandy Shores. Okay, good. Alright. I don't mind if I get this one wrong because it just could be anything. Utopia. Let's go with Utopia. It looks kind of like a gargoyle monument thing, I guess. Well, okay. I don't feel bad about that one.
What is that? Let's go with Utopia. I think that's one of the statues on the outside of the map. But was that the back of one of those sphinxes, like on the left? Oh my, okay. Oh, I see his little claw now, nice.
Easy. 100% Wasteland. If it's not Wasteland, I'll delete Rocket League. Easily Wasteland. No! Oh no! Oh! Okay, one sec. Just gotta alt tab and delete Rocket League here. Oh god.
I'm a Georgia boy. This looks like home. It's obviously Farmstead. Nice.
He knows his stuff, I have to admit, but let's go back to our special guest, Dele. We're going to check if you're good at spotting lies among truths. Do you think you're going to be able to sniff them out, mate?
I'll give it a good go.
Nice. Okay, so I'll kick you off with the first one. Okay, so A, football was not invented in England. B, PSG won the Champions League twice. And C, Yaya Toure scored all of his penalties in the Premier League. What do you reckon?
I think it's A. I think football was invented in England, right?
I can in fact tell you that football was invented in China in 476 BC, and the way they invented it was they would kick the heads of their victims around in a game. How mental is that?
Wow, yeah, I did not know that.
The lie is in fact that PSG won the Champions League twice. They have never won the Champions League. Oh dearie me.
Oh yeah, I knew that as well.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a few trick ones thrown in there. So you go for the next one.
A, Angel Di Maria was traded for 35 footballs between two Argentinian clubs. B, Sheffield FC is the oldest professional club in the world. Or C, FIFA 21 dab celebration has been trademarked by Paul Pogba.
What do you reckon? I mean, even though football was invented in China, it seems like it would be a British team that would be the oldest club, right?
That first answer's thrown me off now. I'm still thinking about it.
Being transferred for 35 footballs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for A.
He was traded for 35 footballs with Rosario paid Torito 35 footballs for Angel Di Maria. How mad is that? Pogba has not trademarked that dab celebration. That would be hilarious if he did, though. Right, I'll go for the next one for you, mate. Okay. Ronaldo, the Brazilian striker, scored the most goals in World Cup history. In 2020, EA earned on FIFA over $1.6 billion US. Or C, Real Madrid has won La Liga titles more than all of the rest of the teams, excluding Barcelona. What do you reckon?
Wait, the lie is...
So which one is the lie? Yeah.
C, surely.
The lie is that Ronaldo scored the most goals in World Cup history. Close has scored 16 and Ronaldo scored 15.
Okay, A, FIFA 20 hired Pablo Picasso's grandson to design their game cover. B, no English manager has ever won the Premier League title. C, Dele Alli has the same amount of assists in the Premier League as Harry Kane. Oof.
So a bit of backstory. Pablo Picasso is like a famous abstract artist. He would draw things using cubes. He would just cubes, and it would just form something. Then you got no English manager has ever won a Premier League title. And do you know if you have the same amount of assists as Harry Kane?
I'm pretty sure I had more. I'm going to go with C.
Right, the answer that we have is A. And if you guys are wrong, I swear, I'm coming after all of you, because if Dele thinks that he's got more assists, it apparently is a fact that you both have 34.
Oh, yeah, he got loads this season, didn't he? We was this season. Okay, I changed my answer to A.
So, yeah, the answer is A. There you go. I'll give you a tick on that one. FIFA 20 did not hire Pablo Picasso's grandson. And, yeah, no English manager has ever won the Premier League. That's a bit of a shame, really, isn't it? So, I'm going to do the next one for you. Right, Peter Crouch is 7 feet tall. That's A. B, Swedish striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic has never won the Champions League, but he's played in 6 clubs which have won. And C, Alan Shearer has missed 11 penalties, which is the most ever missed in the Premier League. Have you met Peter Crouch is the first question that I'm thinking off the top of my head. Could you think that he's 7 feet tall?
7 foot? No, I'm going to say A. You can't be 7 foot, surely.
He is indeed 6'7", so you are right. He is definitely not 7 feet. But isn't that mad? Zlatan has played for 6 clubs that have won the Champions League, and he hasn't won it out of any of them.
A, football has remained 28 inches in size since it was invented. B, Cristiano Ronaldo won more Ballon d'Ors than Messi. C, Ronaldinho has scored 23 goals in a single match at the age of 13. I think Messi's won 1 or 2 more, so B's the lie.
B is indeed the lie. And a football has remained 28 inches in size since it was invented. How mad is that?
But I always feel like when we play them, I always feel like the different sizes, like...
It's weird, isn't it? I feel like it's the composition, isn't it? Composition of...
Yeah, when they bring out a new ball, I always feel like some are bigger than others, like, that I've played with, but I'm missing that.
There you go. The official size has remained. But Dele, you did absolutely great. And it's all about having fun, isn't it? So we absolutely smashed our way through that quiz. Thank you so much for joining us on Games Without Borders and Gaming Night. Really, we do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to, do this for a great cause.
No, thank you.
There is one thing that we can't forget about. Gamers Without Borders is for fun, and most importantly, about charity. Speaking of which, I had a chance to sit down and talk with Pascal Barolier, Managing Director of the charity organisation Gavi. I am joined by Pascal Barolier, who's the Managing Director of Public Engagement and Information Services at Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Pascal, welcome to Gamers Without Borders. First of all, thank you so much for joining me, and how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Better every day, with the good news coming from, the latest on the pandemic, at least, in the countries where we are lucky enough to have enough vaccines. Of course, the situation is very different in the countries where we work, where, there is still a lot of supply constraints on the vaccine situation.
Your organization's ethos centers around all lives have equal value and to ensure that no one is left behind, which is incredibly inspiring because Gamers Without Borders, our mission statement for 2021 is no one left behind. So because each country is impacted differently by the COVID-19 pandemic, have you had to shift focus with each country that gets into a critical state?
Well, you see, the pandemic is very dynamic, and maybe the countries from the north, Europe, the US, Canada were hit very hard at the beginning, and we saw relatively few cases in the south, maybe in the developing nations. This is really shifting today. We saw that with India, massively hit by the pandemic. Unfortunately, we had a lot of the supply of vaccines coming from India, and they've had to, of course, use that supply to protect their own people because the situation is so bad in India. Our worries are that the next wave is going to affect much more the developing nations and the countries with the smallest resources. So we need to mobilize and make sure we are able to supply those countries. We have already distributed almost 90 million doses to many nations, but of course this is not enough, and we are hoping that by the end of the year, beginning of 22, we will be distributing close to 2 billion doses to the countries that need them the most, and this is absolutely in line with this campaign of yours, which is about leaving no one behind.
Exactly. I mean, you've already mentioned the future, 2021 into 2022 as well. As we progress, it does seem like the grass is getting greener. Thanks to vaccine distribution, Gavi has recently made huge announcements in early June at the Gavi COVAX AMC Summit. Could you please touch on that a little bit?
Yes, so the summit was the occasion for our donor countries to come together and make sure we will be sufficiently resourced to buy the vaccines that we need to go well into 2022. And so they did answer the call. The meeting was called by the Prime Minister of Japan, and pretty much all the nations that are our top donors answered the call, and committed billions of dollars to fill the gap. On top of that, there was a whole movement taking stock of the fact that there are supply issues. There was a whole movement joined by the US as well as Team Europe to share doses, because the richest countries could buy vaccines, could order vaccines. Some of them have too many doses, and now there is a whole movement to actually orient the doses to us so that we can distribute to the countries that need them the most. So this is another way of contributing by providing those doses directly to the countries that need them.
Well, your success so far in distributing the vaccines at Gavi has been absolutely incredible. And touching on Gamers Without Borders, we last year donated just over $1.3 million to Gavi, and this year planning to do, the same. What can people like myself and people at home, the viewers and the people participating in Gamers Without Borders, what can we do to help also?
Well, I think there is the financial aspect, and I think the fundraising that you're doing is really amazing. Coming from that corner, of gaming, which I think is truly fantastic. The previous commitment generated the 1.3 I think $million, and that represents 500,000 people vaccinated. We need roughly around $5 per person vaccinated. So you can quickly make the calculation of what additional funding would do. Now, on top of the financial aspect, I think there is probably a stronger contribution that your viewers, the players can do. It's about influence. It's about making sure they get the right information about vaccines, making sure they share this information accurately, not fall into the traps of fake news. There are people that are trying to, generate fake content about vaccines. One thing that we need to be aware of is that vaccines are the fastest way to freedom and getting our life back.
Yes, I mean, utilizing social media in order to, spread the correct word and, support what needs supporting, everyone that's doing their best to try and fight the COVID-19 pandemic. But Pascal, thank you so much for joining me on Gamers Without Borders. I really do appreciate you taking the time to sit down and have a chat with me. And best of luck at Gavi for the remainder of 2021.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My name is Banks, and remember, no one left behind.